Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Students at First Online. It is our final message of the school year, and it's also my final message as the Students and Families Pastor at First Christian Church. So this is a semi-emotional moment, of course, but I want to be able to share some words of truth from you one final time before we move on out. Pardon my semi-empty bookshelf here. We're in heavy packing mode for sure. So I wanted to talk to you guys one last time just about a really short book of the Bible way towards the back called 3 John. I've always been a great lover of the books that John wrote, both his gospel and the epistles, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John. And then Revelation, of course, is its kind of one of the crown jewels of the New Testament. Today we're going to be in 3 John, and I love this story because it's just about one friend encouraging another and saying, hey, I understand what you're going through. I understand that you have some difficult people that you're working with, but here's what to do. So let's crack open our Bibles, or if you have your smartphone with you, go ahead and turn to 3 John. We're going to read that first section, and I'll be in the CSB version. The Elder. To my dear friend Gaius, who I love in the truth. Dear friend, I pray that you are prospering in every way and are in good health, just as your whole life is going well. For I was very glad when fellow believers came and testified to your fidelity to the truth, how you were walking in truth. I have no greater joy than this, to hear that my children are walking in truth. Now, John wrote this when he was living in Ephesus around AD 70, so about 70 years after Jesus rose from the dead. And it's a lot of overlap from 2 John. There's some scholars out there who believe that 2 John is more addressed to the church body, while 3 John is addressed to a specific person who's in that church body, and his name is Gaius. Gaius is one of the dear friends of John, and he is a wonderful example for the people around him. He's following Jesus. He's seeking to prosper in every way, right? He's got good health, and that's something that John prays over him. But he is a person who holds to the truth. He has very strong morals. He's strong character. He is walking in the way of Jesus. He's seeking the way of Jesus. And that is one of the things that John voices is saying, hey, one of my greatest joys is to hear that you all are holding to your commitment in Jesus. So for me, and speaking into you guys and seeing that this last final message, that's one of the things that brings me the most joy about what I do as a pastor. It brings me some of the most joy of the time that I've spent with you all is being able to watch you and see how you live out the truth of the gospel, how you live out the commitment that you've made to Jesus. So I resonate a lot with this just in seeing how John is kind of encouraging his friend and saying, hey, I love you, I care about you, and I'm glad to see that you're following Jesus well. He keeps going with his encouragement in the next 3 verses here, or 4 verses, verses 5 through 8. So let's check that out. Dear friend, you are acting faithfully in whatever you do for the brothers and sisters, especially when they are strangers. They have testified to your love before the church. You will do well to send them on their journey in a manner worthy of God, since they set out for the sake of the name, accepting nothing from pagans. Therefore, we ought to support such people so that we can be co-workers with the truth. So not only is Gaius this wonderful person who has strong morals and is walking in the truth, but it says that he acts faithful in whatever he does for the brothers and sisters who come into the church, even those who might not be, followers who have been with Jesus a long time. Maybe they're strangers. Maybe they're just new to the faith in general. He's also this person who's very reliable for that church body, and he's very welcoming. And that's been one of the issues that will stick out as we go into the next section here, verses 9 through 9 and 10, actually. But it says that whatever he's doing, he's taking care of people, and he needs to keep doing what he's doing. That's really what he's saying. He's like, guys, you are doing so well at this. Good job. Keep it up, pal. you're doing so well. You're taking care of people. You're introducing them to Jesus. You're showing them Jesus in the way that you live and act. Super, super important for us as followers of Jesus to embody that. But there's somebody who's getting in the way. In verses 9 and 10, we learn about Diotrephes. I wrote something to the church, but Diotrephes, who loves to have first place among them, does not receive our authority. This is why, if I come, I will remind him of the works he is doing, slandering us with malicious words. And he is not satisfied with that. He not only refuses to welcome fellow believers, but he even stops those who want to do so and expels them from the church. Now, there's a lot of people out there in the world who are just like Diotrephes, where they just want to be more important than they really are. And they want their group to be the same. They don't want new people in it. Some people out there view the church more as a social club rather than a family, a body of believers who welcome new people and bring new people in. And, it's hard when it feels more like this social club where there's all these unwritten rules maybe, or maybe these people are really unfriendly and they only want to associate with certain people that are there rather than everybody, and bringing everybody around this commonality of following Jesus. Diotrephes was one of those people, is that he didn't want new believers joining the church. He didn't want people who hadn't believed before to learn about God and find their way in. He wanted everything to stay the way it was. Yeah, he likes to be first among everyone. He doesn't receive the authority of John, who's, as addressed at the very beginning of this letter, he's called the elder. He's kind of the overseer person for this church, to encourage them, to give them advice, to support them in whatever they needed. And he is not about that. He even goes so far as to say false things about John and about Gaius, these people who are leading the church. And John's like, once I get there, I'm going to have some things to say about him. I'm going to have to talk to him about what he's doing, because this is not something of God. This is not the way that we want our communities of believers to be acting. And that's one of the most important things for us as we move forward and as we grow, is that the churches that we become a part of, they don't belong to us. They're not our social club. They're not our circle of friends. We might have friends there. We might feel very comfortable there, worshiping there and loving others well and serving. But it's not up to us who gets to come in and who doesn't. It's not up to us who shows up on a Sunday morning or a Wednesday night or doesn't. We shouldn't be turning people back from the doors just because they might look different than us or act different than us or think differently than we do. If they want to see Jesus and if they want to be supported in a godly community, we should welcome them. And that's what Diotrephes is fighting so hard against as part of the gospel commitment. And that's what Gaius is doing so well, and what John is really encouraging him to keep doing. So, as we move on, he says, hey, as a final word here, you've seen the positive aspects of serving others and welcoming them into the church. You've also seen the destructive patterns of Diotrephes. Here's my takeaway for you. Here's my takeaway. Verses 11 through 12 are really the kind of the most important part that John wants him to understand here, and then a farewell in verses 13, 14, and 15. So let's read that. Dear friend, do not imitate what is evil, but what is good. The one who speaks good is of God. The one who does evil has not seen God. Everyone speaks well of Demetrius, even the truth itself. And we also speak well of him, and you know that our testimony is true. I have many things to write you, but I don't want to write to you with pen and ink. I hope to see you soon, and we will talk face to face. Peace to you. The friends send you greetings. Greet the friends by name. He knows that Gaius understands that the way he's been doing things is the right way, and that to follow the truth of Jesus is the right way. He also knows that Diotrephes has not been living in the way that is according to the gospel and according to the way Jesus lived. So he says, don't imitate the evil that you see around you. Imitate what is good. Look to Jesus. Live like Jesus, because anyone who is good, who does good, is of God. Everyone who has that commitment to Jesus honors that commitment to Jesus, and then continues to live in a way and view others in a way that is good and honorable is of God, right? Even this other person that he mentions only in verse 12, Demetrius, it says, Demetrius is doing fine. You know, the way that he lives aligns with the truth of the gospel. And we know that too. That's what John says. We know that too. And you know that I don't give a lot of endorsements. You know that I don't say that about a lot of people. He's doing really well. Good for him. So these people, Demetrius and Gaius, are really serving God, and they're growing and they're loving people well. They are being the church as it was supposed to be. They're living out what the church was supposed to be. And, churches are messy. Churches have a lot of different stuff going on, and people sometimes have different agendas that don't line up. Some people think they're doing the right thing for the gospel when they're really just doing it for themselves. And that's the case with Diotrephes. He really just wanted to be first. He wanted to be important. He wanted his group of people to be only his group of people. But Demetrius and Gaius both wanted people to know the gospel, to love Jesus well, and to live as he did. And that's what John really wants to point out in this third epistle that he writes, and as an encouragement to them. And that's kind of my final encouragement to you all as we go into this summer program, as I move on to the next step, and you all move on to next steps, whether it's summer or fall or whatever that looks like. Imitate what is good. That's my takeaway for you. Be the church as Gaius and as Demetrius lived it out. Aligning yourselves with the gospel. We've had many conversations over the last 6 months or so about what the church is supposed to look like, how we are supposed to live, and how we might not be where we need to be. I have full confidence with your generation. Those of you who are going to watch this video, who might come to small group on Sunday or on Wednesday, or maybe in our Zoom groups, I'm pretty confident about the way that you all live life, that you will find a way to lead the church in a way that is open and honest with people about how their sin affects them in their community, but also open and honest with people about how Jesus changes everything, and that how we can walk with him in a way that welcomes new people and loves people well, but doesn't compromise on the things that are important, the things of integrity, the things of living out the truth. So it's been an honor to be with you all on these Wednesdays and Sundays for the last couple years. And I just want to pray just a blessing over you all one last time. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for who you are and why you have called us, who you have called us to be. The words of John is an encouragement for myself and for the students of First Christian Church at Napa. You are calling them and growing them to be good people, specific people that follow you, are aligned with your truth, and that know that the church is supposed to be a place that welcomes and loves people, and who, instead of being influenced by the difficult people in the church, choose to rise above and listen and learn and focus on you. So I just pray that over our students. I thank you for the time that we've been able to spend together, and I know that you will continue to grow them as they seek you. We love you, God, in your name. Amen.